So, that level of intimidation. The other level of intimidations are, you wake up in the morning, your tires are slashed. You wake up, your cat's hanging up on that. So whatever is appropriate.
It's not a direct mandate from Hubbard. I saw a documentary where he's talking about utterly and completely destroying anyone that gets in their way.
Destroy the person. Yeah, literally destroy the person. Yeah. There's so many. There's horror stories about. Google Paulette Cooper, Google.
And as far as murder?
Alleged. Yeah.
Suicide.
If you have mysteriously done.
I mean, if some of them are working for pretty much slave labour, and they end up, for health reasons, they can, I suppose, go down the road, and if they're depressed enough, suicide is certainly not unheard of, and especially if they're isolated from their families. You hear that as well, where you have young women who die, not necessarily from direct murder, but are poorly looked after.
Suicide and attempted suicide. Look, give you a case in point on that one. But again, just a bit of an insight into the culture, You've got to toe the line. If you don't toe the line within, this is the case in the Sea Org, you have a problem, you're not allowed to leave the Sea organisation, right? So what we do is set up a re-education camp called the Rehabilitation Project Force, and it is a vicious routine. Young friend of mine actually had an affair, and this is illegal, had an affair and slept with a man she found very attractive. She was put on the Rehabilitation Project Force. She was angry, she was depressed, she demanded to be let to go, she wanted to go, in this awful regime. So she found out what she could do was attempt to kill herself. So she ran out of the indoctrination room where she was one campus program in Sussex, grabbed a bottle of paint there, threw it down, ran up the roof and jumped off. She didn't die, unfortunately. She didn't die, but she was crippled, and obviously lower bowels intestines removed and all that kind of thing. Covered up by Scientology, covered up completely. They took up people in the health services and the service completely.
Are women given a harder time in Scientology?
Not necessarily, no.
Sorry, what was the question?
Are women given a harder time?
Well, women are more complex creatures than that, aren't they? I think we're a lot smarter than that, actually a lot more perceptive than men, and thus, to that degree, in other words, it is harder. The very fact that the woman carries a child is obviously a problem as well. So scientists set up under a masculine structure of poverty, and the expectancy is the woman lives and follows the exact regime of the male. There's not much thought taken into the fact that the woman has periods and stuff like that, so there's no money that way. She can't buy, pads. That's her problem, you know what I mean? So there's not allowances made for it. Or pregnant women, they don't allow children in the Sea Org anymore. They don't want the Sea Org members to go, so what they do is they manipulate the women to have abortions.
CR is, which level CR now?
Huh?
What women aren't allowed, what level?
In the Sea Org level, women are not allowed to have children. So this would be the militant men. Again, sorry, I should just clarify very quickly. The Sea Organisation owns Scientology, owns all the property, owns all the licenses, owns all the deeds to every single building in Scientology, or anything that is valuable. The Sea Organisation owns it, and the Sea Organisation is what manages and runs Scientology. We are the people who do it. We are the people who do it. The staff member in, say, the city officer, Birmingham, London, whatever else, he's just a flunky there in that city. He doesn't own it. That's it. So in other words, so the Sea Org is the elite counter of research, right? This is apropos, just kind of give you a framework in terms of what we exist within and what the CF actually does.
Yeah.
So within that context, you're allowed to get married. In the CF, you're allowed to get married. You're not allowed to have affairs. Sex is a very, very repressed subject.
But do you have to marry somebody within? Or can you marry
I
outside?
can marry people within the CF organisation only. And now it's extremely difficult. I mean, I found that I was engaged twice. They don't like people to get married, especially the very use of flexible troubleshooters, you know. The first time I was engaged, I found myself in Africa. The second time I was engaged, I found myself in America.
For it's a unit.
For 2-3 years at a time.
Two people kind of separate the organization.
What sort of educational options do they approve of for children of Scientology parents?
Yes. The only reason they have a school at all, the only reason they have a school, the child is not considered a child by the way. Again, you see that piece of very, very nasty how they believe that that's connected.
Sorry, you believe what?
It's an awful piece of Scientology belief in regards to children. Children are considered to be adults in small bodies. That's what a child is. So there's no concept of neurological development, stages of development of a child. This doesn't exist because the idea that you are a Satan, as you call it, you live for millions and billions of years. You know what I mean? So you've taken this human body, this baby's body, you have taken it. So you're a fully formed adult in the Scientology concept. So there's no allowance is done to that. The only reason of schools is because society would be it. It would just close them down if they didn't allow the children.
So they go to special schools?
They have their own schools now. Yeah, they used to, for a while they were going to, when I started, kids were actually going to local government schools and so, normal schools, state schools, whatever. But of course there was, often the kids would, more often than not, the kids were terribly neglected. Clothing was pretty obvious the kids had problems in their thinking. They were disturbed because they see their children, see their parents for about an hour a week in most cases. So you can imagine so kids, they were really damaged children. So this caused an awful lot. So teachers would say, hang on a second, we need to investigate what's happening with these children. We've driven up here in this beautiful minibus every day. We don't see them with the parents. They're hungry often. They're dirty, licensed, whatever else. Awful, terrible. So this was causing such public relations flaps that they set up their own school. And they did set up a school system that the inspectorates would recognize. So essentially they did the curriculum, but it was infused with Scientology stuff. But they did enough of the curriculum to satisfy the education inspectorates and got enough. So that's kind of,
It seems to me fairly outrageous that they could do that. I mean, then they could satisfy the educational authorities.
yeah. It's, there's something else I was reading. We knew from the outset in this organisation that we had infiltrated people at local and state level in government. In fact, what I was doing, I was in Birmingham. I was infiltrating myself into that one. I mean, this is part of the strategy. That case with the IRS. Initially, the FBI actually almost closed down Scientology in the 70s. But senior people in the FBI had been infiltrated and were super agents within the FBI, not to mention FDA, IRS, a whole lot. This is a strategy. So yes, it is completely outrageous. I mean, I have a friend who, very good friend who got out, and she was in trying to get out. No, this was, sorry, this was, There's a couple of girls I knew very, very well from the time one of them was a child, right? At the age of, I think she was 14, now her whole family had joined the SEA organisation, whole family. So 14-year-old child, 14-year-old people rebel. She was a 14-year-old girl whose life had been completely destroyed by this awful cult, and yet their parents were in there believing it and living it, rebelled very, very hard. She lived and existed in the SEA context, and they said, "Oh, you're too much trouble. We're going to get rid of you." So they took her up one night, put her on a train to London, 14 quid, no passport, bye. She went to the local council, somehow, someone got the local council, referred the case straight back to St. Nelson. This is one of your people. The little girl came here. She came for help. She went there for help. So obviously the people they had in there grabbed the case very, very quickly and referred straight back to Scientology.
What's the overall goal of Scientology in terms of their long-term agenda? I mean, you have other religions who have their belief in a Messiah coming and all this, various reasons for world conquest to one degree or another. But since, I mean, there is no necessary Messiah from Scientology, I believe. So what exactly is its ambition, except for making money all the time? Does it have a global view?
Yeah, it has a global agenda, if you like. It's two agendas. One is a public agenda, you know, that Scientology accepted worldwide, or whatever else, right? And the actual agenda, I can't remember the exact wording of it, but it was essentially Scientology is going to run governments, internationally. That's an agenda. Now it's a lot of crap really when you actually break it down. It's not going to happen. They know it's not going to happen. But it's such a money spin. Scientology is such a money spin.
And the people at the top believe it, or the people at the top just manipulating the people underneath?
Well, there's only one person at the top now. I mean, there's a bit of kind of a sort of a kind of a Stalinist coup almost, you know, happened there. This guy David Miscavige, who's kind of, like I said, he is a psychodog. I met the guy. He is an absolute raving sociopath. This guy. But within that in the context of Scientology, he's very, very clever. But he's violent. He's got no sense of morality. Nothing. And there was, I think, 100 top executives. Hubbard at least understood, you know, at least Hubbard understood that, you know, if you run the meet properly with a person, with a senior executive, you know, give him accolades, whatever, it doesn't matter, you know, give him something, keep him on the leash, let him use his intelligence and his power and so on to grow the organisation. So they had a proper structure, I suppose, a proper corporate structure at one point. Miscavige kind of got...
What's his name?
His name is Miscavige, David Miscavige.
It's a strange name, David
Miscavige.
Miscavige.
Yeah, it's I think probably call that